Free hospitals, schools, labor rights. Don't you think you're spoiling your people too much? Of course not. I'm just giving them what they deserve. Besides, a happy, prosperous, and well-cared-for people don't promote revolutions or try to kill their leaders. The other kings snort.
Young one, you think we don't care about our subjects?
But too much good makes them commoners lazy and...
One of them starts. I sneeze. Apologies, I am allergic to bullshit. Please continue, I say. The meeting hall falls quiet.
Come again.
The king of the Ravenworth kingdom, the one who spoke before, growls at me. I smile. You heard me. You guys are simply too greedy and unwilling to invest in your people, I say. They exchange looks and laugh.
Invest? What investing are you talking about? You are wasting money.
The king of the Underwood kingdom laughs. I chuckle. Is that so? So tell me, when was the last rebel attack in your kingdoms, I ask. They fall silent. Mine was 5 years ago, the very attack that killed my pop. God's bless his soul, I say. They frown. Oh yeah, when was your last plague? Mine was 4 years ago. I continue. They say nothing. How many volunteers do you have in your armies? For in my kingdom, all abled men and women are happy to take up arms if needed. Those free martial arts schools be helping with the skill level of the common fella, I say. The king's pale. Finally, they realize what I am talking about.
You mean to say that everyone is willing to enlist? Doesn't that mean...
The king of the Lower Peaks kingdom starts. My ministers estimate a potential force of 40 million soldiers. How does your standing army fare? 50, 60,000? I ask, standing up. They flinch, and guards appear from the shadows. No worries, I wish for a happy cooperation with all of you, though. I wonder, are you worth the trouble? Seeing that you refuse to learn and change with the times. I laugh and leave the meeting. There is nothing to be discussed here. I already contacted most of their merchants, and even some well-doing commoners. The world is changing. Magic is appearing more and more outside of noble bloodlines. If these fools aren't willing to see it, better for me. Now back to work. A prosperous kingdom in these times of change doesn't build itself. I do hope the schools start to churn out some good seeds soon. I need more officials, more ministers, so that my reforms can be overseen on a local level. So many things to do, so many things to change. This is fun. Are all members of your species as strong as you? Seriously? No, of course not. Good, I was sacred there for a second. I'm a weakling. Practically everyone else in my planet is stronger than me. Well, those that are trained, obviously, but that includes a lot of teens and some kids.
Let me get that for you, dear,
said the nutrition worker. Her protective helmet translated her words. Pressure waves don't transmit well from air to water. She braced one appendage against the wall and grabbed the crate with another. It came loose with little shockwave. I stared in bewilderment. She made it look so easy. Are all of you this strong? I asked.
Oh, no.
She laughed.
I'm a weak old lady who keeps skipping her exercise. My youngest grandson can lift more than me.
I stared after her in bewilderment as she pushed off the wall and swam for the other end of the room.
First day dry mining?
Asked another miner. I nodded.
Those humans are beasts. It comes from growing up in a low-buoyancy environment. They can't handle normal ocean pressure. But up here, if they can get one of their lower limbs in place, they can lift as much as a small machine.
The alarm sounded. Start of shift. Everyone headed towards the waterlock. We carefully put on our protective suits and checked our emergency canisters. The water drained from the room. Then a final check to make sure the propulsion system was interfacing properly with the bottom wall. Finally, we headed off down the dry tunnel. At the first fork, the human miners joined us. They only wore light protective clothing. They balanced precariously on their hind limbs, supporting their entire weight and that of their tools. I couldn't help but stare. One of them seemed to stumble into the other. I flared, expecting injuries, but neither fell and both started laughing. I checked my HUD, human playful behavior. Well, hopefully they wouldn't try that with me. We got to work. To my relief, the humans did need tools in order to break rocks, but then they casually picked up fragments and propelled them into the carts by hand. My HUD kept giving me terrain alerts, but they just walked all over the place, even sometimes pulling themselves up along vertical edges. At the end of the shift, the same nutrition worker was handing out the food. It was strange stuff. I checked the menu. Fried chicken with assorted vegetables, domesticated land animals and plants raised on site, heat-treated in fat. Caution, maybe low in salt. Well, I thought I had wanted adventure and I was certainly getting it. Remember, he's old, not frail, was an understatement. What remains of your frontline troops lies scattered throughout the field.
Looking at the spearmen, shieldmen, and swordsmen's corpses, I sigh. Seriously, I told them to be careful.
I told them to allow the ranged units to occupy the geyser before attacking, but no. They had to rush in. Now the geyser is humming, eating an apple, steadying himself on his cane while waving at me across the entire plains. Damned geyser.
Sir, what now?
One of my officers asks. I sigh. Now we beg and grovel for him to leave the forest so that we can develop it as a new city for the Empire. I say, leaving the tent. The officers follow me as we walk towards the forest. The plain is littered with our men's bodies. They died relatively quickly, so I guess that's a win? Sigh. Why did they have to send me?
Look at who it is. Little Azarel.
The geezer says as I get closer. Geezer, I say. He chuckles.
I still remember trying to teach you magic. But damn, were you dull like a mud ball? Nothing except fire magic could hold your attention.
He grins. I sigh as the officers stare at our interaction all confused. Will you allow us to create a city in this forest of yours? I ask. He chuckles.
Would there still be a forest of mine if a city is built here?
He asks. I sigh. Kneeling in front of him, the officers followed suit, and soon I started to beg.
You can get your kneecaps removed on that soft grass for all I care. I won't give you the right to destroy nature. That would be wrong to my wife,
He says, munching on another apple. I sigh. No chance? I ask. Nope, not a single one.
You guys are destroying nature a tad bit too fast. Go back to your fancy emperor and tell him he should slow down. Otherwise, I may or may not visit him.
He says. Before we could say anything, I find myself together with my officers, back in the royal city, a million miles away from that forest. I sigh.
Sir?
One officer stutters. Just ignore it. Logic seems to be afraid of that geezer. Let's go to His Majesty and explain somehow how an entire legion got destroyed by an ageless geezer. I grumble and leave. Damn geezer, can't he roll over and do something else for once other than whatever he wants?
Most evildoers are actually big softies when it comes to kids. The ones who aren't don't last long. I welcome the newbie villain to the League. Now then, before we start anything else, Rule 0, like this is something you have to consider before you even properly wake up in the morning. Never, ever, ever hurt a child, I say. He nods.
I can see why, because heroes would go crazy. Don't worry, all I want is justice for myself and people like me. I will.
He starts. I shake my head. Young one, you wouldn't last a minute after hurting a kid, but not because of heroes, I say.
No?
He frowns. No. We old villains would hunt you down, skin you alive, feed your souls to ghosts, while making toys out of your bones for the kids. I smile. He shivers.
Why?
He asks. I sigh. We are villains and we do kill, kidnap, steal, destroy, but most of us have reasons. We hate the world. We hate ourselves. We hate how the world ignored us, mistreated us, tortured us, and we hate what we became due to the world. But children are innocent. They still have a chance to have something we villains never had and will never have. Happiness. Kids aren't tainted by the world. They are pure blank slates, so we have a soft spot for them, I say. He nods. Makes sense, kind of. Why such a strong reaction, he asks. I sigh. Most of us want to change something. The world, the country, the view of people on something. Or ourselves. Children are the future, and they are our chance to change. How do you think we villains, people who lost so much, who lack so much, would react when someone steals that hope for a better future from us? I ask. He pales.
I see. I never planned hurting kids, so it's okay.
He says. Good. Add to that list nurses, not doctors, nurses, and EMTs. Those fellas deserve it. Oh, and store clerks. They also are much more resilient than we are. I say, and start showing him the League's headquarters. But I don't worry. If he really keeps his hands away from children, he won't suffer too much. Cosmic tech support here. What's your problem? I'm a genie. My client just made the wish to change all electrons into positron, and now my universe blue-screened itself. How do I even fix that?
You did what?
I granted the wish as expected, the genie mumbled.
And the universe you were in no longer exists?
Yep, you don't need to shout.
You had one job.
Yeah, about that. The rules said no making people fall in love, no killing, and no wishing for more wishes.
You killed that entire universe.
Right. To be fair, I didn't know that changing that would instantly implode the entire universe.
It's in Genie 101, never screw with the fundamental laws of the universe, ever.
Right. Must have skipped that class.
Yusanuva!
Violent crashing sounds were heard behind the phone until some music interrupts the call.
I'd Alex from Cosmic Support over here. Steve over there is having a meltdown. What did you do?
I may or may not have imploded my entire universe by changing electrons with positrons. Do you think I could solve it if all the other particles also had their polarities reversed proportionally to the positron?
Technically, yes. Wait a moment.
A few back and forth happens in the background before a grand voice was heard, resolving the issue.
Yeah, big guy up there said it'll be fine. Give me a moment to reset the time curve to the exact moment of wish fulfillment. I'm casting your temporal and corporeal being into just before the wish is granted. It may sting a little, but that's your punishment, I suppose.
Oh, okay, thanks so much.
All right, you'll be live in 3, 2, 1.
The ever-imploding universe that was ripping itself apart froze in place, then slowly began to unwind itself in the time axis. Particles returned to their original location just before the wish is granted.
I wish to change all electrons into positrons.
Wish granted. After a big light show that the genie does, nothing happens.
Oh, I expected a big boom. What happened?
Oh yeah, every electron is now a positron and every proton is now an antiproton and so on and so forth. Technically speaking, everything changed according to your wish. It's just that polarity is a two-way coin and what's positive and negative is only a human concept attributed to trying to understand the concepts that govern the fundamental laws of the universe.
Huh?
So, technically speaking, everything and anything made of antimaterial functions exactly the same as if it were an electron. Welcome to the world where everything is exactly the opposite. If you were to meet your past self, you'd annihilate.
Damn it, you genies and the loopholes.
The adventurer just found out the Demon Empress and her forces are deathly afraid of her deity. Like, nothing can save you. Not even death, combat, prayer, or begging for mercy. Scared. And their deity hasn't even the faintest idea why. My teammates are staring at me, as if I was a freak. The Demon Empress's army, generals, and the Demon Empress herself are hiding. They ran away when I cast my first buff spell. I sigh.
What did you do, Aisling?
The mage asks. I shrug and start praying. Hey, quick question. Why the hell is a being that is said to be like a god amongst mortals terrified of you? I ask my deity. A moment later, I can feel her gaze upon me. An avatar appears, and I can hear shrieks. The Demon Empress's forces must have had someone around, but now they also ran away, terrified.
I don't know. I haven't been on this planet since the last battle of the gods versus demons battle, roughly 2 million years ago. I doubt their bloodline heritage spans all the way back.
She says. I sigh. My teammates look at me confused.
So now what?
The warrior asks. I shrug. Dunno if she, I start, pointing at the avatar, could tell us what's going on. Maybe we could write a proper report and be done with this mission, I say. Before we could continue the conversation, the avatar waves her hand and a scream is heard. The scream is getting closer and closer, and soon. The Demon Empress appears in front of us, lifted into the air, shivering.
Let me go! Let me go! I won't...
She starts.
Oh, my me, you look just like my niece.
My patron goddess starts.
Wait, you are my niece. What are you doing up here?
She continues. I sigh. Why does this keep happening? The Demon Empress stutters.
Little I, this one here is afraid of you because she's my niece. A half demon, half deity. And I guess the rest is her clan. Oh my, I haven't seen my brother's kids in like 1,000,000 years.
The avatar starts as she lowers the Demon Empress. Then I watch as she grabs the Demon Empress's ear and twists it.
Ouch!
The Demon Empress yelps.
You kids aren't allowed in the mortal realm. Isn't the demon realm and the divine realm enough? Breaking rules, calling yourself empress at your age, don't you?
She starts, dragging the poor Demon Empress around. My teammates look at me.
Should we?
The mage starts. I nod and we all leave. Yep, that's family business. Not ours to butt in. So yeah, the mission can go to hell and we can go to a pub. I need a drink. You thought the pet snake you adopted was a normal animal. That was before it started to sleep in a crystal orb, slither through portals, and speak mystical languages. Slowly, you realize it's a dark magical entity feeding on humanity, though you've always woken up refreshed since adopting it.
Looking at Jormungandr, I know, major nerd alert, but I love the name, and sigh. Dude, what are you? I ask him. The snake stares at me and blinks twice. Then his skin lights up and several runes appear on it.
Okay, we can talk now.
It says. I smile. Finally, some answers.
I am not Jormungandr. He is still sleeping, and I am not a snake. You could call me an eldritch being?
He says. I nod. Okay, explain the portals and weird language, I say. He nods.
And I am feeding on humanity right now, hence why I so often disappear.
He continues. Okay, honest, but wow. Wait, I feel so much more refreshes and less moody since he is here, so what do you feed on exactly? I ask. He blinks twice.
Nightmares and strong negative emotions. Well, negative emotions in general are much stronger than positive ones, no matter what your novels say about love.
He says after a while. I chuckle. Phew, that's a relief, and it explains why I feel so much lighter since I got you, I say. He nods.
Humans of this age are, wow. You guys are burdened with so much negative emotions. I eat full every day. And let me tell you something, there were times in certain civilizations where I had to feed on entire galaxies to feel full.
He says. Oh, that's not good. Are we that bad? I ask. He shakes his head.
No, you have this thing called imagination. I think, yeah, imagination. And this sets you apart from other civilizations. Most civilizations don't have 1,000,000,000,000,000 world-ending scenarios displayed as entertainment, he says.
I chuckle. Well, he isn't wrong. We have quite the fascination with horror, apocalyptic scenarios.
No worries, though. As long as I am here, those thoughts won't give birth to another demon. Have to go now. I'm getting hungry,
He says, disappearing into a portal. I stand in my living room, frozen. Another demon, I mutter, thinking there is
a lot to talk about when he comes back. Explain to me again why exactly you gave sentience to the ants? Well, I had the time, you had the resources, and frankly, it seemed like a great idea. Plus, the result was better than I expected. I sigh. Better? The ants reached a somewhat Bronze Age development stage. In a week, they already have tools and the terrariums are bursting soon, I say. He smiles.
Isn't it fantastic?
He exclaims. I sigh. You do realize that these ants will soon learn our language and expand. And you do realize that in these terrariums, there are like 100 million ants, right? I ask. He frowns.
It's only 100 million ants. What wrong could they do?
He asks. I point at the ants that are using small rock pieces as tools. Yeah, what could go wrong? I roll my eyes as I turn my gaze towards the sprinkler system. My friend pales.
No, don't kill them.
He shouts. I sigh. We have to, man. You created sentient ants that seemingly are not only smart but extremely intelligent. You really want humanity to die? I ask.
They could help us. We could be allies. They are so small and...
He starts. I sigh. There are like 3 million ants for each human on Earth. You think we could coexist? I ask.
They are so...
He starts. I groan. With sentience comes problem understanding and solving. With problem solving, the death rates will plummet. With the ants' reproduction rate, how fast do you think they will be? 5, 10, 20, 30 million to one human? And how can you be sure this increased intelligence and sentience won't make them find a way to grow larger? Once they reach a point where they can create farms for food, who knows how big they can get? Are you really? I start, but I suddenly feel dizzy. I look at my friend who is putting on a gas mask.
I won't allow you to kill them.
He says, then everything goes dark. When I come to my senses, all the terrariums are gone, with a note glued to the wall.
Sorry.
It read. I sigh. Shouldn't have given all the money he wants. I knew he was crazy, but... oh boy, I hope it won't end up as bad as I fear. You are a therapist who helps military personnel reintegrate into civilian life. Your newest patient is a genetically modified super soldier returning from intergalactic war.
I watch him slowly sit down, then stand up, looking uncomfortable. Do you want to change seats? So that my back is to the door, not yours? I smile at him. He nods.
Yes, ma'am.
He says. I stand up and we change places.
Was this a test? To see if I am not as tense as on the battlefield anymore?
He asks as we sit down. I smile. Yes, I do it with all military personnel. I hope you don't feel bad because of it, I say. He shakes his head.
No, ma'am. It's a good thing to test. After all, you will be one of the person deciding whether we go back to society or we need more therapy.
He says. I nod but inwardly sigh. Super soldier indeed he is, smarter, stronger, and having seen too much, this won't be easy. I smile. So then, Mr. Smith, let's start with something recent. Since your return to our planet, how have you been feeling? How's your sleep? I ask. He sighs and looks down. I simply wait.
Decent, I guess. Haven't left my house too much, other than training at the gym, but it is really, really close. Sleeping is still hard, and I sleep on the floor, behind the couch, just a few dozen minutes at a time. Society is loud. I didn't think civilian life can be more chaotic than the battlefield.
He sighs and starts speaking. I listen. He is presenting the same estranged feelings as others. And how about interacting with others, maybe going to veterans meetings, I ask? He groans.
Ma'am, I have been genetically modified, and it is visible. I know it is. I am taller, more well-defined figure, and I barely age. All my friends and relatives are gone, and their descendants, they... How can I go to them? Hey, I am your great-great-uncle. They would think I am some sort of predator.
He starts, and this time his voice is quivering. So this is his pain point. Family, how good. It means he isn't emotionless after spending that time away. Good, good. It's normal to feel that way. You have been back only for 2 weeks. Slowly, you could try to contact them and see whether or not they are willing to meet you or simply speak via holocalls. Then I start giving some tips and tricks to connect with others, and soon this session is over. He leaves with his body still tense, but not as tense as before. Progress has been made today, and I see hope of seeing this man one day in a grocery store with no issues.
When a human is responsible for the death of another, you expect them to serve their sentence because there's not much else they can do to make amends. But for a being like me, who might just be able to challenge death itself, the same verdict is horribly insufficient. So yeah, I have to do this, I say, as I continue destroying the undead.
So, the great divine warmonger, the being that quelled countless wars and fought back invasions from other dimensions, other universes, is a prisoner?
The mage asks. I nod. Continuing punching, each punch obliterates tens of thousands of the undead horde. Well, when you kind of consumed a couple tens of thousands of galaxies, it's hard to find a proper punishment, especially since maybe only death, life, and time can actually contest me, but not defeat, I say. The mage sighs.
What a letdown. Here I thought that one of you eternal beings is actually nice,
He says. I laugh. Am I not saving people left and right? Even now, without me, your planet would become a necromancer's plaything, I say. The mage uses a purification spell as he cleans our surroundings as we get closer and closer to the heart of the undead calamity.
But you aren't doing it willingly.
He says. I shrug and continue punching. Still a good deed, no? I say after a while.
I guess. But why are you doing this, though? If you are as strong as you said, couldn't you just ignore the punishment?
He asks. I sigh. I could, absolutely. Problem is, there is this geezer, good friends with death, and well, some knowledge is best left unsaid. Anyway, this geezer, who never ever interferes in the stuff going on in the universe, got annoyed with me and grabbed my ear until I swore to follow death's arrangements for my punishment, I say. The mage stops casting spells.
What?
He asks. I sigh. Yeah, I couldn't even move, let alone fight back. Damn geezer, I say.
Okay, won't ask more questions, but this just proves even more that you are not nice. You are forced to do good things.
He says. I laugh. I guess so, I say, finally catching sight of the necromancer, surrounded by liches and bone dragons. I jump up and do a cannonball to his location. Crawling out of the crater a bit later, I watch as the undead miasma is getting lighter. Done with this. I still have 2 Vigintillion planets to save. Have fun rebuilding the civilization, mage, I say, and leave. Next destination, Capabla Planet, undergoing a dragon calamity right now. Sword Girl is known as the weakest hero in her team. Actually, she's trying very hard not to kill anyone when she could just turn people's bones into swords.
Everything hurt. Felt like my very bones had been shattered. Though judging by the force at which I'd been hit, it was likely that at least my ribs had broken. That would be a fun conversation with the medics back at HQ. I was always getting in trouble with them for not trying hard enough to keep herself safe. Everyone thought I was weak. I never minded that. Meant I got targeted first. Meant they always went for me and my teammates were safer. They never knew it was because every second of every fight was spent keeping my power in check. A single misplaced strike, a thought with a bit too much force behind it and people would die. Copper spilt across my tongue as the next blow struck, sending me rocking back against the chair I was tied to. Control, I cautioned myself. The others needed me to keep them distracted here, needed the intel I could gather. I'd volunteered for this, though none of us had expected them to devolve into torture so quickly.
You know this can all end. Just tell him what he wants to know.
The good cop in this situation told me as his compatriot cleaned blood off his knuckles. Slow, easy breathing. This wasn't the worst I'd been hurt, and the footage I was collecting would bring this entire organization to its knees. I rasped out a laugh, surprisingly soft in the room. No answer would stop this. Even if I had been inclined to tell them, they'd never accept it as the truth. And spoil. I paused to run my tongue over my teeth, testing to make sure none of them were loose. All this lovely fun we're having? For shame. Bad Cop smiled, a flash of a smirk at the edges of his lips. See, at least Fists McGee here has a sense of humor.
You think this is funny?
Good Cop said, his voice light.
Your team left you here to die.
I shrugged as much as I could. I don't think I'm hero material, really. A subtle tenseness to his jaw, frustration. That was satisfying, at least. And then I got a message over the emergency neural link. Oracle has been captured. My heart gave a strange lurch. Not him. Not Oracle. He didn't have the physical strength to stand up to what they'd been putting me through. Chronically ill, but an exceptionally powerful portalmancer when he had the space to work. No, they weren't allowed to hurt him. The team needed him. My eyes closed. The pendulum swung. Once. Twice. A long, slow breath left me before I opened my eyes with new confidence. Bloody and beaten, but not broken. They should have taken more precautions. They should have activated the neural dampeners, but they thought my power was in the sword currently contained in the glowing box undergoing tests. Fools. Where have you taken Oracle? My voice was dark, empty, nothing like the jovial tones of before. It surprised both of them, though they tried to suppress their surprise.
How did you, a psychic on the team? Well, maybe if you're good, I'll tell you.
Good Cop smirked. 2 threats, but I only needed 1. Did you know, I started as Bad Cop made his way over to me. There are 206 bones in the human body. He laughed.
And I'll break all of them before I'm done.
I looked up at him. No, you won't. That fist inside me, the fingers I kept wrapped around my power constantly, relaxed, and I chose my target well. Tiny bones first, interlocking joints. The change is quick, sharp. Impaling through the bone and severing nerves in a sudden burst of agony. He screamed, stumbling back, body suddenly revolting in agony of newly sundered parts. Smaller bones are easier to change. Lockdown joints, ultimately reversible with some long-term aches and pains. I continued, a sword slipping from my skin and slicing through my restraints. But I can change larger ones. Good Cop went to rise, to shout the alarm. I glanced at him. Your teeth are bones. Would to learn what it feels like to feel them change one by one? That made him freeze in place.
But you're
The weakest, by choice. At first it was just my own bones I could turn. They grew back, but it hurt. And then my range grew, and grew, and grew. Ideally, no one would ever know. I stood up, cold and calm. Now you can end this. Tell me what I want to know, and you and your buddy get to become the least important people in the world to me. I paused then. Or you can stand between me and my oracle. Not a wise choice. They both looked at me, determined, as if that mattered, as if they could withstand the hell that was about to descend upon them. I shrugged. I'd spent a very, very long time trying to be good, trying to be civil, but Oracle was the one person I cared about more than anything. I would burn the world to get him back. A few screaming mortals was a trade I was more than willing to make.
Sword Girl is known as the weakest hero in her team. Actually, she's trying very hard not to kill anyone when she could just turn people's bones into swords.
Everything hurt, felt like my very bones had been shattered. Though judging by the force at which I'd been hit, it was likely that at least my ribs had broken. That would be a fun conversation with the medics back at HQ. I was always getting in trouble with them for not trying hard enough to keep herself safe. Everyone thought I was weak. I never minded that. Meant I got targeted first, meant they always went for me and my teammates were safer. They never knew it was because every second of every fight was spent keeping my power in check. A single misplaced strike, a thought with a bit too much force behind it and people would die. Copper spilt across my tongue as the next blow struck, sending me rocking back against the chair I was tied to. Control, I cautioned myself. The others needed me to keep them distracted here, needed the intel I could gather. I'd volunteered for this, though none of us had expected them to devolve into torture so quickly.
You know this can all end. Just tell him what he wants to know.
The good cop in this situation told me as his compatriot cleaned blood off his knuckles. Slow, easy breathing. This wasn't the worst I'd been hurt, and the footage I was collecting would bring this entire organization to its knees. I rasped out a laugh, surprisingly soft in the room. No answer would stop this. Even if I had been inclined to tell them, they'd never accept it as the truth. And spoil. I paused to run my tongue over my teeth, testing to make sure none of them were loose. All this lovely fun we're having? For shame. Bad Cop smiled, a flash of a smirk at the edges of his lips. See, at least Fists McGee here has a sense of humor.
You think this is funny?
Good Cop said, his voice light.
Your team left you here to die.
I shrugged as much as I could. I don't think I'm hero material, really. A subtle tenseness to his jaw, frustration. That was satisfying, at least. And then I got a message over the emergency neural link. Oracle has been captured. My heart gave a strange lurch. Not him. Not Oracle. He didn't have the physical strength to stand up to what they'd been putting me through. Chronically ill, but an exceptionally powerful portalmancer when he had the space to work. No, they weren't allowed to hurt him. The team needed him. My eyes closed. The pendulum swung. Once. Twice. A long, slow breath left me before I opened my eyes with new confidence. Bloody and beaten, but not broken. They should have taken more precautions. They should have activated the neural dampeners, but they thought my power was in the sword currently contained in the glowing box undergoing tests. Fools. Where have you taken Oracle? My voice was dark, empty, nothing like the jovial tones of before. It surprised both of them, though they tried to suppress their surprise.
How did you, a psychic on the team? Well, maybe if you're good, I'll tell you.
Good Cop smirked. 2 threats, but I only needed 1. Did you know, I started as Bad Cop made his way over to me, there are 206 bones in the human body? He laughed.
And I'll break all of them before I'm done.
I looked up at him. No, you won't. That fist inside me, the fingers I kept wrapped around my power constantly, relaxed, and I chose my target well. Tiny bones first, interlocking joints. The change is quick, sharp. Impaling through the bone and severing nerves in a sudden burst of agony. He screamed, stumbling back, body suddenly revolting in agony of newly sundered parts. Smaller bones are easier to change. Lockdown joints, ultimately reversible with some long-term aches and pains. I continued, a sword slipping from my skin and slicing through my restraints. But I can change larger ones. Good Cop went to rise, to shout the alarm. I glanced at him. Your teeth are bones. Would to learn what it feels like to feel them change one by one? That made him freeze in place.
But you're
The weakest, by choice. At first it was just my own bones I could turn. They grew back, but it hurt. And then my range grew, and grew, and grew. Ideally, no one would ever know. I stood up, cold and calm. Now you can end this. Tell me what I want to know, and you and your buddy get to become the least important people in the world to me. I paused then. Or you can stand between me and my Oracle. Not a wise choice. They both looked at me, determined, as if that mattered, as if they could withstand the hell that was about to descend upon them. I shrugged. I'd spent a very, very long time trying to be good, trying to be civil, but Oracle was the one person I cared about more than anything. I would burn the world to get him back. A few screaming mortals was a trade I was more than willing to make.
So how are you so muscular despite being a bard? Well, my instrument of choice is a piano, and yes, I carry it around with me. Want to hear about how useful it has been? I shake my head. Yeah, no, it's all right. I can imagine it was useful as a shield, as a weapon, and more. Pianos? Especially if it's that big type, and considering your muscles, it certainly is that big type, are really spacious. I say. He laughs.
Yes, exactly.
He says. I smile. But your piano is not here now. What if someone wants to attack us? I ask. He laughs, his laughter booming, almost silencing the whole pub. Carrying the piano strengthened my lungs as well.
Believe me, I have a few shout-based skills that can protect us. He winks.
I sigh, as if that should be reassuring. You do realize this is a stealth mission, I say. He frowns.
But I am a bard.
He starts. Yeah, but most bards also know silent casting and acrobatics, and they can cast sleeping spells or songs or whatever. I say. He nods.
If I sing loud enough, you can do whatever you want. If I roar in someone's ear, they will sleep, believe me.
He smirks. I sigh. Not the point. Not a single soul should know we are making a move, I say. He laughs.
If we kill everyone, nobody will know we made a move.
He grins. Ugh. If I wanted this approach, I would ask for a barbarian. I start, but suddenly the pub falls silent. Almost everybody's weapon is drawn and pointed at us. I sigh and take out my sword. Then a great roar echoed as the bard stretched out his hand. The wall collapsed as a grand piano flew in.
Let's roll, baby,
he roars, swinging around the huge piano. I sigh. Why do I never get a normal companion? I groan as spells are fired from my sword, and thus a peculiar bard's and a very normal mage's journey has started. You are a magical null where any magic around you stops working. But instead of using this power to fight or capture, you run a special home for magical people who are too young and or too traumatized to properly control their powers. And today you've just received a new arrival. I look at the child and smile. He doesn't react. So, what happened? I ask the nun.
He is the son of the Nine Sun Empire's fifth prince. If you heard the news, you would know that the fifth prince's mansion has been eradicated by someone. He is the sole survivor,
She says. I nod and point at the burn marks on the nun. She smiles.
Yes, he has the royal's Golden Crow bloodline magic. Problem is, the butler was hell-bent on having the child be sent to us or any other small orphanage or monastery instead of a relative.
She says. I nod. Royal shenanigans. He is welcome here, I say, and the nun smiles, thanks me, and leaves. Kiddo, what say you? Books or food? I ask. He says nothing, but his stomach growls. I laugh. Food it is, I say, leaving slowly, waiting for him to follow me. In the kitchen, the others were making dinner.
Mr. Argent, a new arrival.
Fred, an ex-imperial chef, asks, staring a bit too much at the child. I nod. Family exterminated, just like so many of the kids here, I say.
You don't care?
The child suddenly speaks. Oh, he speaks. I care, and I'm sorry for your loss, kiddo, but it doesn't mean you are any different from the other souls in this mansion. I smile at him.
I burnt the nunnery, and Butler Bow, and...
He starts sobbing, then gasps and screams. Relax. No magic will happen in this mansion, not even if you want to, I say, gently hugging him. He faints in my arms.
Don't.
He screams, jumping up. Relax, you are safe. In a nice bed with friends around, I say. The other kids are peeking in from the door.
The flames. Why?
He mutters, looking at his hands. I am a magical null. No magic happens around me. Well, I am a bit older now, so no magic happens in quite the large area around me. You don't have to worry about going out of control. I smile. He nods, and his stomach growls even louder. I turn to the kids. Show him to the kitchen and have him eat something, slowly, lest he gets sick. Then show him the mansion, especially the library, I say to the kids. I watch them take the child away, and I smile, noticing that the child didn't flinch when being touched by another kid. Healing has begun. The kids and adults here will help each other. I am here just to give them a safe place and a chance to heal. Humming, I leave, ready to order some books on Golden Crow magic. You were kicked out of your superhero group because you came out to them. Feeling rejected, the only source of comfort just so happens to be a supervillain and your arch nemesis. Unknown about what caused your bad day but did something unexpected. She became the very rock you so needed.
The door opens and a groan ensues.
How do you keep finding my hideout?
She asks. Sorry, I mutter. She freezes and gets really close.
You have been crying. Come in.
She grabs me and drags me inside. She tells me to take a bath and then come downstairs. I nod and mechanically take the bath and wear the clothes she left for me. Downstairs, some food and a hot beverage is waiting for me. We eat in silence and I start crying even louder.
The hell happened?
She asks. I came out and they kicked me out, I say, and look at her. I expected some snide remark against us heroes or the world situation. After all, she's trying to change it all, to rule, to make a world in her image. But all I found was compassion.
Don't worry. It happens. Some people are really rigid in thinking. You will find your people. For example, I don't care who you fancy. You're still an asshole in my eyes.
She jokes. I smile. Thanks. I thought that they will be more open-minded. But to be instantly kicked out just because I like women? I mutter. She nods.
Yeah, it's still hard for some people to accept it. Not that I get it why. It's not like it changes anything about your idiotic self-sacrificing persona.
She says. I nod. Thank you again, I say. She nods, then grins.
So, anyone you fancy?
She asks. I nod. She is a barista in my favorite coffee store. We went on 2 dates already and is going great, I mutter. She smiles.
Good for you. Don't let society tell you how to feel. It's not like you are doing anything bad.
She says. I sigh. It's not easy to ignore the stares and the nasty words, I say.
You will get used to it, no matter how sad that sounds. Some people will never change. Even if the whole world will one day accept you, some will still hate you and want to hurt you. Ignore them or beat them up, though I doubt this is your villain origin story.
She grins. I laugh and shake my head. No, I am still ready to stop you any day from doing some villain stuff, I say. She laughs.
That's the spirit,
she says. We talk for a bit more, and then I go home, but we plan to have coffee once a week, and I really look forward to it. I didn't think it would be my nemesis that would save me from sinking into the abyss.
Your various alien crewmates were so excited to tell you that another human has been found. You aren't the last of your kind, after all. Plus, the other human is coming to meet you immediately. The first thing you think when you see them is, that thing isn't quite human. Almost instantly, the crew changes vibe. Gone are the smiles and the teasing, and out are the gravity guns and blasters, with a barrier instantly raised between us and the human. The other human freezes.
Okay, Bob, if that thing isn't human, what is it?
The captain asks, as she is pointing a graviton gun at the human. I shrug. Good question. We never knew what they were, only that they were unstoppable, and basically that thing is why I think I am the last of my kind, I say. The crew pales, and the other human simply phases through the barrier.
Greetings. I am here to consume that carbon-based creature there. May I proceed?
It says with a smile. I sigh. The crew goes crazy, shooting at the human. I simply start running away.
I see. You are obstacles.
I hear the human say, and then screams ensue. The ship shakes. I hurry to the closest shuttle. At the shuttle, I find an engineer, Sir Thicla, working on it. Get in, now! I roar at her, and she listens to me.
Bob, what's going on? You never shout.
She asks worriedly. I ignore her, start the shuttle, open the hatch, and fly away.
But we didn't get permission, and the alarms. What is going on?
She asks. I ignore her, flying at max speed away towards the nearest known space station. Once we are quite far from the ship, I sigh. Sir Thicla is staring at me, all four arms crossed, pouting. Okay, you know how I always say I think I am the last of my kind? I ask. She nods. Well, the reason for this thought of mine just arrived onto our ship, I say. She pales.
Then...
She starts. You can assume the captain and everyone else is dead and the ship eaten, I say.
Eaten?
She asks. I nod. That's why the Galactic Council can't find Sol. These things, they ate the planets, moons, asteroids, and the sun, I say. She wants to say something, but then the scanners pick something up. I turn it on, then throttle the shuttle once again. Why? Because on the scanners, just behind us. The other human was slowly walking towards us. Firstborn child. The Fae finishes. You smile at the beautiful Fae. When do we get started? The Fae's smile turns viscous. Oh, did you think you could do it with me? We can't. But as you've offered yourself to me, I will take you too once you have my price. Good day to you. I shake my head. You misunderstood me. I asked for great power and you said yes. So when do we get started, I say. She stops.
You think you can...
She starts. Not my fault you misunderstood me. I haven't offered myself to you. I asked when do we get started. With the training. I say. She scowls.
You already have mana and magic knowledge enough to be considered a great power by human standards. Get over yourself.
She rolls her eyes. I chuckle. Our deal was as such. Make me a great mage, not give me the powers of a great mage. Making me a great mage involves training me. Mana, magic knowledge in itself is useless if I am not trained how to properly use it. And if it is useless, you are not fulfilling your end of the bargain. I grin. She groans.
You think you are funny? I will train you, but each day you will...
She starts. Wish I was dead or something. Yeah. As long as I get powerful, I am fine, I say, interrupting her. She grins maniacally.
And then I will stay and wait for you to fall in love. And then your firstborn will be mine.
She laughs. Okay, I nod. She freezes.
Okay, that's all?
She shouts. I shrug. Mages live centuries. If I get strong enough with ancient magic, I could live thousands of years. I will have time for kids, and frankly, Fae usually use humans as servants, soldiers, or transform them into Fae. Sure, they can't really leave the Faelands anymore, but I never heard about Fae eating or killing these children, so I am not worried, I say. She sighs.
Fine. Let's start with some theory. What is magic and how do we absorb it?
She starts. I smile and listen. Finally, I can have the strength to explore the world. Honey, the kids have turned into dinosaurs. What do you mean? They have turned into dinosaurs, all different species, in the living room. Seems they are all extinct animal shapeshifters or something. I sigh and go to the living room, and indeed the children are dinosaurs. Well, children-sized dinosaurs. Weird.
Dad?
One of them shouts. Okay, they can speak, nice. Well, how? I ask. They are panicked as they don't know what is going on. I sigh. Call your mom, and I will call my dad. Maybe they know something. I say to my wife. She nods. My dad is clueless, but really intrigued and already on his way here. My wife comes back with a sheepish smile.
Yeah, it seems my ancestors, were shapeshifters. Ma thought it's some random story, but now
She says, looking at the kids. I nod. Any chance to control it? I ask.
they have to control their inner beasts and they will be able to transform at will?
She says, Yep, perfectly cryptic stuff, so story-like. I turn to the kids. Relax. Have fun being dinos. Hope you are not cold, and thank God it is summer. And, good luck calming down, I say, going to the kitchen to make myself a cup of tea. This is too much, and it is just Saturday morning. My wife laughs and follows me to the kitchen. The kids can figure it out themselves. A few hours and a lot of thuds later, the kids come into the kitchen. I sigh. Couldn't you have, gone upstairs to get some clothes? I ask, nodding at them. My son shrugs, but my daughters blush and rush upstairs. I chuckle.
I am starving. Is there any steak?
My son asks. You want it raw? I ask. He actually nods. I sigh and look at my wife, who also seems tired. Well, should have expected this to be a bit more troubling, I mutter, going up to check on the girls. I hope they aren't chewing on some plants or clothes. They were herbivore dinosaurs if I identified them correctly. You are an eldritch horror that met their eternal partner while pretending to be mortal. Now you are trying to keep them alive and sane while their world goes through a period of turmoil. If you can stay with them for X years, they'll have absorbed enough eldritch energy to transform themselves.
I caress my husband's head as he rests on my lap. Life is hard. Only 7 more years, though. 7 more years, and he shall be transformed and become a pseudo-eternal being. And after that, we can take our time to choose a true eternal path for him. But watching him fidget in his sleep, grumbling, I sigh. Can he survive these 7 years? Life as a mortal, especially in these times on this planet, is hard. I take a look at the clock and smile. Honey, time to wake up. Let's have dinner, I say. He sits up and stretches, and then we kiss, and he smiles. He almost says something, but sees the clock, and he visibly shivers.
Almost tomorrow again. Have to work.
He groans. I sigh and go to heat up the food. I really don't want to mess with his memories and mine, but maybe I should? During dinner, he is cheerful. We joke, we discuss our plans, and we flirt a bit about what to do a bit later, but then the dinner is over, and it's almost time to go to bed. He goes to take a shower, as I was the dishes. I sigh. Recession, job uncertainty, increased rent, possible war. All these and more are making him so stressed. He is almost losing his mind. I came up with a lot of activities, and we visit his family in the countryside every weekend. It helps for the moment, but it's not enough. Money, time, energy, they are all lacking. I go upstairs ready for some fun, only to see him asleep already. I smile and cover him with a blanket. He thinks I am a store clerk while he is an accountant, and despite me barely bringing any money, he never brings it up, never mentions it, and works hard for us. Soon, I mutter, kissing his forehead before going to take a shower myself. I don't want to forcibly transform him, since that could damage his mindset. And I don't want to solve the problems with my powers. I love him as he is, and I don't want anything to change, and I just hope he will survive these 7 years.
Looks like I almost forgot something,
he says, suddenly appearing in the shower. I smile. Yeah, I don't want this to change. I have to be patient, and because I know it will be worth it.
It's weirdly hilarious how every once in a while the guild gets a commission written in dragon tongue. The resident dragon is a highly valued patron known for handing out menial tasks for incredibly generous rewards in gold. This time, it's to fetch the princess who keeps crashing on its tower.
I watch the adventurers enter my lair. Greetings, adventurers. Are you the ones who have taken upon themselves the mission I posted? I ask them. They nod.
Yes, Lady Madroga. May we ask, where is the princess?
The mage of the group steps forward. I point upwards. On the tower, I say. They frown.
On?
The mage asks. I nod. I have written it in the task. There is this princess that keeps crashing on my tower, I say.
On the tower?
The cleric asks. I smile at her. Yeah, I think she keeps trying to teleport inside, to hide or just be away from the world for a while, but my tower is spell protected, I say. The adventurers nod.
Well then, we shall go and check.
The mage says. Wait just a second, I think I hear her coming, I say. And indeed, a moment later, a woman steps into the lair.
Come on, Merdroga. Be a sister, will ya? Let me into the tower already. I face-planted on its roof like...
The princess starts, then sees the adventurers. She pouts.
You really called the adventurers on me? Rude.
She says. I chuckle. Adventurers, meet Princess Isabella Veronica Manuela Timea Jessica von Argent, also known as the Crashing Princess, I say. The adventurers are confused.
So we should...
The mage starts.
No need. I can teleport myself home. Ugh, I am not even wearing makeup. So embarrassing. I will loot your wine hoard for this, Murdroga.
She says, trying to teleport away only to crash headfirst into the walls on my lair. Also spell protected, I say. She blushes, curses me, and runs away.
The mission?
The warrior of the adventurers group mutters. I throw a bag of gold at them. You did it. Having been seen by you in such an embarrassing state, I estimate I will have peace for a few months. I smile. The adventurers nod and leave while I go back to sleep, but not before double-checking the locks, the spells, and counterspells on my wine collection.
You dare refuse me, human. You shall regret denying me after what you've done, said the pregnant witch. Babe, do you really have to be this dramatic after I said I won't get you ice cream at 2 p.m. on a Sunday? Said the man as he sat up in bed as he looked at his wife.
I am carrying your offspring, your blood. I am eating for 3, and we crave ice cream.
She screams. The table starts floating. I groan. Stopping from massaging her feet, I stand up from the coach. Fine. Anything else, darling? I ask.
This seat and the heir's desire chocolate ice cream, watermelon ice cream, a menu from McDonald's, and we wouldn't say no to some pumpkin-scented candles.
She smiles. I nod, put on my flip-flops, and leave. The shopping was more difficult than expected, because it was, after all, a Sunday. After an hour or so of driving around, I am finally done. I get home to see my wife fast asleep. I smile. I cover her with a blanket, and instantly she wakes up.
Who?
She shouts, as the blanket transforms into a huge python. I sigh. It's just me, honey, I mutter, dodging the python's bite just as she turns it back into a blanket.
You did well. This seat is satisfied.
She burps, eating the mac, as I massage her swollen feet. She takes this rather well, considering we are with twins.
Give me the ice cream,
She says, throwing away the wrapper from the food. I chuckle and hand her the bucket of ice cream and a spoon. Careful, though. Too much cold food might upset your stomach and the babies, I say. She pouts, but after eating a few spoons, she stops.
We would like another pillow.
She yawns. I nod, and by the time I am back with her usual pillow, she's asleep again. I chuckle and let her sleep. A few hours later, she wakes up and calls for me, asking for some water. Bringing her a glass, she smiles.
You have done well today. This seat might reward you.
She grins, pulling me closer. I carefully approach her as we kiss. Careful now, I mutter between kisses. She laughs.
I asked the doctor. It is still safe,
She says, dragging me onto the couch. I wanted to say that I still had to cook and clean and put a load into the washing machine, but when Her Highness demands to reward me, I am to allow her. I'm sorry, I pray too much, and for such mundane things I'm probably making you annoyed. I'll stop for a while. Suddenly, the god you were praying to appears. Wait, no! I love your stories and modesty.
I look at the entity and bow. My lord, I say.
Oh, stop that. Stand up, lass.
He says. I look at this elderly-looking gentleman smiling at me. He looks just how I imagined him to look. Maybe it's a choice he made. I am sorry that I vent so much, I mutter. He chuckles and pats my shoulder. Then he claps, and we disappear from the meadow and reappear in a nicely furnished room on 2 armchairs by the fireplace.
Now, do continue. You were talking about how you failed saving 2 women while stopping an entire underworld gate appear.
He says. I shiver and tear up. Yeah, I am so sad. It feels so bad. I'm just a priestess, but I still want to do my best. But I failed again. 2 poor souls have been taken by the undead, I say.
Out of millions that could have died if you weren't there.
He smiles. I nod and sigh. I failed you, I know. I mutter. He hands me a cup of hot beverage, still smiling. How benevolent.
You haven't failed me. And your modesty and innocence, which are real, flabbergast me. Like the things you call mundane. My siblings talk in awe about. My siblings, the other gods. And the things you consider as failures, they are legends.
He says. I shake my head, sipping the hot beverage. It is delicious. I still feel as if I could have done more, so much more. And things are so hard, the entire world is ablaze with conflicts, plagues, and death, I mutter. He nods.
Indeed, but you help a lot. You are my favorite worshipper, and your stories I cherish more than I cherish my axe. I am proud to have you as a believer.
he says. I start crying. Thank you, Lord Argonash, I sniff. He chuckles.
Now, I have to go. There is a war brewing in another galaxy that may involve lesser deities. Go with my blessing, my daughter, daughter of war, and save the innocent. For war, for the sake of war, is heresy. And only with a purpose does war get real. And your purpose, it's of the highest order, giving true meaning to war.
He says, disappearing. I found myself back in the meadow, surrounded by the corpses of the countless undead. I stand up and grab my spear and look towards the flickering portal. Maybe I can go and take the battle to the undead. Yes, that way no innocent shall die, I mutter, starting to run towards the flickering, closing underworld gate.
You won, I am beaten, and so I yield. The villains sighs as their body transforms into something far more monstrous.
But you just transformed. Certainly this is your full power now, and I must continue the fight.
Utters the confused hero. I frown. Excuse me? This is my real form. I am at my weakest now. Are you trying to find a reason to finish me for real? I have already yielded. Don't push me too far, hero. I growl. The hero whom valiantly fought against my armies, against me? He flinches. I frown.
What is wrong?
I ask. He coughs.
You look... well...
He stutters, barely being able to look at me. I snort. Rude. This is why I was labeled a villain, and why I hate your kingdom. Looks matter too much, I say. He coughs, blushing.
Well, you are a hideous monster,
he says. I gasp. Was that adjective needed? Monster already is enough to state your opinion on my looks. Was it necessary to emphasize it? I ask. He says nothing. I sigh. Very well. Now what? Imprisonment, or slavery, or execution? I ask.
I don't want to be too close to you,
he mutters, his disgust more and more visible. How rude. I could shapeshift to another form, or take on my battle form again, I mutter. He dry heaves.
It is better, if you just go back to the wasteland, and don't attack, us,
he says, dry heaving before turning and flying away. I watch him leave and sigh. How utterly mannerless. This is a hero? No wonder so many people helped me. Their heroes are absolute barbarians. I mutter, before leaving as well. I was defeated physically and hurt emotionally. This was a big loss for me. You were born cursed and with your powers tainted, but as you grew, you realized how much malarkey that was. Your powers are the exact same as any other mage's. The only difference, your fireballs and lightning bolts and everything else comes out black. Not even abyssal black, just normal black. I step onto the battlefield and allies and enemies alike run. I groan. I mean, I am happy the enemy is afraid of me, but even the allies? Come on! I was thrown onto the streets by my family after the magic awakening ceremony when I was 12. Why? Because I am tainted, cursed? Dumbasses! My magic is simply black in color. Dealing with a few invaders, I watch the rest retreat, and I sigh. Going back to the little tree hollow that I use as a camp for this battle, I light a fire and start roasting some rabbits. It's sad that I am all alone here, and the only reason I look at the black fire and sigh is a color. As I roasted the rabbit, I heard the leaves ruffle.
It's just me.
A voice chirped. I rolled my eyes and put another rabbit above the fire.
So, still a loner? Mr. Black Mage?
She asks as she steps into the hollow. I hand her a piece of rabbit meat. General, shouldn't you be at the main encampment? I ask.
Delicious. And no, I go wherever I want to go. And I wish to visit my Star Soldier. You completely messed up their formation by simply appearing. Amazing,
she says, munching on the meat and slapping my back. I groan. She's strong for a mage. Careful, rumors might float. I grin. She laughs.
I wouldn't mind. You are young, built like a bear and moody. Just my type. Much better than the prospects my idiotic family is thinking about,
she says. I blush. It's not good for you to associate with me, I mutter. She kicks me and I almost fall into the fire.
Bullshit! If I cared about that cursed idiocy, I wouldn't have asked you to be in my legion. Your magic is black in color because it is of a different attribute. Darkness, that's all. Those idiots don't know about magic theory and only know about the attributeless magicians. So don't beat yourself up, work hard, and who knows, maybe the joke will become reality if you gather enough merits.
She winks, wriggling her ring finger at me, and then disappears. I sit, frozen, confused, and then finish my meal and go out to hunt some invaders. It's nothing to do with her last words. No, it's patriotism, yeah! Most use magic spells to tame monsters. but without access to magic. You had to tame, train, and bond with yours the old-fashioned way. It has proven to be a lot more work, but the results were nothing short of spectacular. The mage, who couldn't even be polite enough to introduce himself, scoffed at me.
And they never get violent?
They do, I say as I lift up my shirt to reveal decades worth of scars, causing him to visibly recoil. They are wild creatures, some more intelligent than others. These are mostly from my first attempts, when I didn't know the proper ways to deal with them. I let go of my shirt and looked directly at his tamed creature. It resembled a medium-sized tiger, save for the solid red color gradient and serpentine head and neck. That is an Inugai, ranked among the safest wardens that can be tamed. Took me 3 years to tame one myself, almost died to its venomous bite. What you most likely didn't know is that, paradoxically, its saliva is the perfect antidote. They are also pack animals. All the solo ones that everyone takes are juveniles that break off from their parent pack to either join a new one or form their own. That one, I would say, just left its pack judging from its size. The mage looked confused at that.
This is a juvenile? It's the largest one recorded to have been tamed.
You are correct that it's the largest one tamed, but it is most definitely no older than 50, barely out of its nest. Lifting my hand to my mouth, I let out a series of piercing whistles. They can live for up to 400 years, growing larger and more dangerous as they get older. By now, the trees surrounding my isolated cabin start swaying despite the lack of wind, and the mage starts to look worried. The reason you never see them get any larger, I continued, is that your magic stunts their growth, forcing them to be forever at the age you tamed them at. 5 serpentine heads emerged from the forest, but instead of the red coloring of the young one, they shimmered in the light, changing color as more of their elephant-sized bodies enter the clearing. Do you know what the funniest thing about this is? Once they reach about 100 years old, they become immune to most forms of magic. You're only level 5, right? How is that ultra-powerful thing your companion, then? First of all, that ultra-powerful thing has a name. Secondly, it turns out that when people constantly demonize a gentle giant like them, the first person to not do so gets a free companion. He points at my friend on my shoulder.
But it's a hydra,
he says. I frown. She is Mela, not a hydra, and her favorite hobbies are watching the stars and eating orcs. As orcs are really into conquering and consuming all, I assume you would see this as a plus, no? I say. The guildmaster sighs.
But however cute she is in this form, and however helpful she is still a hydra, bigger than the royal palace in her true form,
he says. I sigh. And, I ask,
and she's a documented continental-level threat. For centuries, the Adventurers Guild tiptoed around her. Her poison melts adamantium, and even SSS-ranked druids can't detoxify it. And her other head's elements are also just as strong,
he says. I nod. Exactly. That's why she's a friendly one. I smile. The guildmaster groans.
Newbie, what the hell do you mean?
He asks. I point at Mela. She's been around for centuries, and has been so strong for at least the last one, and yet, here we are. I don't recall hearing kingdoms or towns being attacked by her, do you? I ask. He flinches. I sigh. I found her sleeping and she saw me. She just told me to leave, as her lair is toxic for most living beings, and gave me a fruit that made me immune to most poisons because she was afraid I was already poisoned, I say. The guildmaster says nothing. Then I said thank you, and was about to leave when I heard her sobbing. She then proceeded to tell me that it is the first time she had a conversation with another being without curses or swearing to be involved, I say. The guildmaster looked embarrassed. And? I start, but someone pinches my cheek. Mela, now awake, is staring at me, all amped up.
Don't tell him that.
She squeaks as her 9 heads sway around. I chuckle. Anyway, I came to register her as my companion, and will be having her with me during missions, I say. The guildmaster sighs.
Very well. I shall handle the paperwork and tell the A+ rank adventurers, who will possibly recognize her, that she's a friend. Take care, newbie. Hope you don't bring about the destruction of the continent,
he says. I nod and leave.
Destruction of the continent? Didn't you tell him I am the one protecting the continent from oceanic and other continental threats?
Mela whispers. I shake my head. Barely managed to convince him not to attack on sight, telling him you are our guardian? Maybe next time. Let's go and hunt some goblins, I say, and Mela cheerfully agrees. Now I wonder, how many monsters are actually just some lonely,
Misunderstood souls?
You're only level 5, right? How is that ultra-powerful thing your companion, then? First of all, that ultra-powerful thing has a name. Secondly, it turns out that when people constantly demonize a gentle giant like them, the first person to not do so gets a free companion. He points at my friend on my shoulder.
But it's a hydra,
he says. I frown. She is Mela, not a hydra, and her favorite hobbies are watching the stars and eating orcs. As orcs are really into conquering and consuming all, I assume you would see this as a plus, no? I say. The guildmaster sighs.
But however cute she is in this form, and however helpful she is still a hydra, bigger than the royal palace in her true form,
he says. I sigh. And, I ask,
and she's a documented continental-level threat. For centuries, the Adventurers Guild tiptoed around her. Her poison melts adamantium, and even SSS-ranked druids can't detoxify it. And her other head's elements are also just as strong,
he says. I nod. Exactly. That's why she's a friendly one. I smile. The guildmaster groans.
Newbie, what the hell do you mean?
He asks. I point at Mela. She's been around for centuries, and has been so strong for at least the last one, and yet, here we are. I don't recall hearing kingdoms or towns being attacked by her, do you? I ask. He flinches. I sigh. I found her sleeping and she saw me. She just told me to leave, as her lair is toxic for most living beings, and gave me a fruit that made me immune to most poisons because she was afraid I was already poisoned, I say. The guildmaster says nothing. Then I said thank you and was about to leave when I heard her sobbing. She then proceeded to tell me that it is the first time she had a conversation with another being without curses or swearing to be involved, I say. The guildmaster looked embarrassed. And? I start, but someone pinches my cheek. Mela, now awake, is staring at me, all amped up.
Don't tell him that.
She squeaks as her 9 heads sway around. I chuckle. Anyway, I came to register her as my companion, and will be having her with me during missions, I say. The guildmaster sighs.
Very well. I shall handle the paperwork and tell the A+ rank adventurers, who will possibly recognize her, that she's a friend. Take care, newbie. Hope you don't bring about the destruction of the continent,
he says. I nod and leave.
Destruction of the continent? Didn't you tell him I am the one protecting the continent from oceanic and other continental threats?
Mela whispers. I shake my head. Barely managed to convince him not to attack on sight, telling him you are our guardian? Maybe next time. Let's go and hunt some goblins, I say, and Mela cheerfully agrees. Now I wonder, how many monsters are actually just some lonely,
Misunderstood souls?